Hello and welcome to my messy studio. My name's Miranda and I'm going to be talking about how to make a stop frame animation. So what is a stop frame animation? It's just a series of photographs that have been strung together to make a film. And so each photograph gets called a frame. So what you need a smartphone with a camera and an app, an animation app on it. I've started using one called Stop Motion Studio because it's free, but there are others. iStopMotion is good as well. So you need that. You need some characters to animate. You need something to hold your phone steady. Now you can just use clothes pegs or you can improvise, but actually a tripod is really good and they're very, very cheap. So I've got a little tripod here. Yep. So you need your tripod, your characters, and tea. Tea is essential. You also need to think about the setting, the backdrop for your animation, and you need to think about lighting, because your animation is only going to be as good as the individual photographs, the individual frames within it. So the whole thing wants to be nicely lit. Okay, we're going to have a little play. Okay, so here we have Stop Motion Studio, and when you launch it, it looks like this, and you can touch that one to have a new movie. And they give you helpful little tips. There's loads and loads of things you can do, and you just really have to play around with it. But anyway, just to get started, touch that camera button. Obviously you can decide which camera you want, front or back. And this red button takes the picture. So in the moment there's nothing in frame. I'm not totally happy with what the picture I've got here. You can see a little bit of space there, so I'm going to move it around. There we go. Now it's entirely nothing but my chosen background. And here's my character. So the tiger's going to come in, but we'll take the first picture before we see the tiger. And then the tiger starts to creep into frame. So how many frames or photographs do you need in your animation? Well, the more the better. A standard amount is something like 12 frames per second, but you can use less, but you'll get a slightly more jumpy animation. So here she comes, the tiger is creeping into the frame little by little. I'm trying not to jog the camera because that's why you have the tripod. We don't want to move the camera. We want to keep the camera steady as we move our creature in. So there's a couple of other things to think about here. So our tiger is in the picture. Obviously our animation is only going to be as good as our individual pictures, so it's worth making sure that you've focused on your character, and you just do that by touching the character on the screen. So it's worth doing that every now and then. Now there's another feature which is really great that can really help you to make sure that you're only moving your creature a little bit and that you're lining them up with where they were before, because obviously if you move them a huge amount, it's as if they're going to jump, which could be good if that's what you want. So there's two ways to do that. You can have a grid, so I can see that my tiger's nose is just touching that line. Move her forward, take the picture. So that's one way. The other way is this great feature called onion skinning. So just move this slider here. At the moment it's in the middle, and all we're seeing is what the camera sees now. I can just persuade that to go up a little bit. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, it's this slider comes down, and as I bring it down I get to see this kind of ghost image of the picture before. So as I move her forward, I can see where she was and where she is at the same time. And they call that onion skinning. So that's really great. So you don't want that massive jump. You want to line her back up with her ghost image. There we are. So you can just keep on moving. And it could be time to introduce another character. So I've got this little Lego man. People use Lego a lot for animations because obviously it's really versatile. You can build things, they can stand up, they can move their arms and legs. So you could choose to use Lego, but it's been done a lot before, so you might want to use something else. Anyway, here comes Mr. Lego Man, who's about to meet the tiger. Now, when you're making an animation, you start to move more than one character. Sometimes it's quite easy to forget that the other character's alive because you're so busy moving, one of them. So Mr. Lego Man's moving. There he is. Whoops! Luckily we've got an onion skin. But the tiger is also alive, so remember you can move both of them before you take your picture. I don't know what's going to happen when they meet. Now, another useful thing. So, I just got my finger in there, didn't I? I might not even have noticed that I've done that straight away. I just carry on. Take a few more pictures. That's a bit of a big jump, isn't it? Let's bring that back. And the great thing here is this little arrow here. You can touch this and you go back to this view where you can see all the pictures you took. We've actually taken 27 pictures. We can scroll back through them. You can see it's a bit like a flip book. I mean, that's essentially what an animation is. Oh, there's the one with my finger. Touch it. All of these great features come up. So you can copy it, say you want things to happen a few more times. You can add things. You can actually draw directly onto that image. You can do all sorts. But in this case, I'm just going to lose it. So I can delete it. So that's gone. And we can go back to the camera view. Carry on moving. And the nice thing with a Lego figure is that they can move their limbs. Oh. So I'm just going to move his arm up a tiny bit at a time. There you go, you get the idea. So here we are, the tiger and the Lego man have met. And the Lego man is doing the only sensible thing which you can do when you meet a tiger, which is to surrender, because obviously the tiger is going to win. So I'm just going to do another thing here, which is zooming. So you can just zoom in as you would on any touch screen, but you want to keep it small if you're going to zoom in during one animation, because otherwise you'll get a jump. But you can see the onion skin of where we were and where we're at. So I'm zooming in on Lego Man a little bit. Can keep focused. And we'll see if that works. Alright, so let's have a look at our frames. We've got 63 frames. You can scroll through them all and we can play it. See what we think. Here comes the tiger, here comes Mr. Lego, he's surrendering, and we zoom in. So there's lots you can do. You've got settings here. You can play with the quality. You can play with the shape. There's funny backgrounds and things, but I think you have to pay for them. Filters. That's quality. Now this is the speed. At the moment we're on 12 frames per second, but you can change that. You could slow it down. Say we slowed it down to 5, and then we played it. A bit more jumpy. Yes. So I'm going to go back to 12 because I preferred that. That's that first thing there, that little clock. There we go. And we can pause it and go back again. Oh yeah. So now you can see all the different movies. You can change their names. You can select one. And then you can export it in all the usual ways. So another very popular animation character material is something like plasticine or clay. This is just a bit of modelling clay, which is what I had lying around. Obviously you can squish it into any shape you want. So because my clay is white, I've given myself a black background. I'll pop it in there. There we are, it's in frame. I've zoomed in quite a lot before I started this time because I want my character to be nice and big in the frame. So you're thinking about the frame. What's your picture going to look like? Usually films a landscape like this. That's why I've got the camera sideways on. And I've got my blob of clay right in the middle. I'm focused on it. Not quite sure what's going to happen with it. Maybe I'm going to squash it a little. But you could also make a little character, couldn't you? So once again, the same things apply. Onion skinning. Just little movements. Keeping focused and taking as many frames as you can.